Good day, everybody. Today, we talk about 3 things about an organization. Organizations are really the backbone of this country. One of the reasons we have an organization is because a person can't do everything they want on their own. So they need more people. So they create a group, and an organization is really just a group. It's a group of people dedicated towards a certain goal. So that's what an organization is. It's pretty easy. If you could do it by yourself, you wouldn't need an organization. You need an organization because you need more people. Either you need people to buy things or to sell things, or an attorney to look at things to make sure they're doing right, or an HR to hire more people. That's what you need an organization to do. You need more people to do what you want to do. So there's a couple concepts about an organization as we start to learn about organizations I think would be important to know. First is organizational structure. Some people say, oh my gosh, what's that? Organizational structure is pretty easy. It's just the structure of an organization. It's how you put the organization together. And that's what structure is. It's no different than a building has a certain structure. An organization has a certain structure. You have so many employees. That's part of the structure. So many managers. Part of the structure. Who reports to who? Part of the structure. What each person does. Part of the structure. The key is you create a structure that best allows an organization to function. So if you're in a sales organization, you create a structure where everything's devoted to sales. If you're in government, you provide usually a service. So it's a service-oriented structure. But basically, the structure should be conducive so the organization can work. The second thing is what's called organizational behavior. And organizational behavior is an interesting subject. Most people don't know what it is, but again, if you break down the word, behave is how you act. Organization, as we know, is a group of people dedicated towards a goal. So, organizational behavior, in what we know about organizations, is really the study of how organizations behave. And you look at 3 things. You look at how individuals behave, so you have to learn how an individual behaves and acts and thinks. Then you have to understand how organizations behave in groups. Because as we know, organizations is a collection of people. And so you look and see how organizations act within groups. And then you look at how organizations behave in certain structures. So you start with the organizational structure, which we defined. Then you look at organizational behavior, how organizations are going to behave in that type of structure, how individuals behave just on their own without even being part of an organization. You look at things like motivation, how compensation is going to affect individuals. You look at how various incentives are going to work, how aspects associated with even jealousy are going to affect individuals. And then you assess that, and you assess it within groups and how things change when people get into groups. You look at things like conflict, big issue with organizational behavior, conflict. You look at ego, you look at self-interest, those types of aspects that come together when you have groups. And then you try to design structures that are conducive to the organization's behavior. The last is organizational structure or organizational development. And this is probably one of the more interesting aspects. Organizational development, you look at the way the organization's already been created, and you look at the way the organization works. And it's a process where you see what they do, and then you try to improve upon the way the organization acts. Much of organizational development looks at reviewing and analyzing and modifying the processes of the organizations. And you modify things like the culture and the structure to make it work better. So once you design the organizational structure and once you look at organizational behavior, you try to look at the development of the organization and say, how can we do this better? The goal of the organization then is to make the organization work better. And some of the strategies that you get with organizational development include concentrating or increasing the knowledge and competence of your employees, matching organizational strategies with resources, encouraging employees to feel more like owners within the organization, and giving employees some sense of freedom in how to do their job. You modify the structure of the job so that it works better. So that is organizations, organizational structure, organizational behavior, and organizational development. Hope you enjoy. We'll talk more about organizations, but it should give you a good background of what organizations are. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.